Level 1, the searcher. You are 31 years old sitting across from a man in his 60s in a conference room that smells like old coffee and printer paper. He slides a folder across the table. Inside, it is not a startup, not software, not a brand anyone follows online. It is a small business he spent 31 years building with trucks, payroll, customer calls, and mornings that started before sunrise. You have $90,000. That is everything liquid you own. Not enough to buy the business, not enough to impress the banker, barely enough to look serious. But you also have a spreadsheet with 900 businesses on it. Names pulled from broker listings, county records, and websites that look like nobody has updated them since 2008. For months you have been looking. Looking pays nothing. Looking means driving 4 hours to meet owners who are not ready to sell. Reading profit and loss statements at midnight. Finding one deal after another that dies when you ask the first honest question. The folder is not a prize. It is the first rung. Level 2, the buyer. The number in the folder is $3.8 million. You read it once, then again, as if the second look might make it smaller. It does not. You have $90,000, and for the first time, you understand that buying a business is not about having the money. It is about convincing everyone else that the business can survive you owning it. The bank studies the cash flow. The seller studies your face. Your two old colleagues study the deal memo you wrote at 1:17 a.m., trying to decide whether your confidence is real or just formatted well. The structure becomes a stack. The bank funds most of it. The seller carries part of the price as a note. Your investors fill the hole your savings cannot cover. Then the accountants arrive and pull apart the numbers. Revenue moves. Inventory changes. Working capital becomes an argument. A few lines on a spreadsheet suddenly decide whether the company can make payroll after closing. By the time the lawyer turns the last page, the room is quiet. Because this page has your name on it, an unlimited personal guarantee. If the business fails, the damage does not stop at the company. It follows you home. You sign anyway. Level 3, the operator. The next morning, you walk into the building as the new owner. Nobody claps. Nobody looks relieved. The receptionist says good morning because she is polite, not because she trusts you. On paper, you own the company. On the shop floor, you are a stranger with debt. The general manager has been here for 19 years. He answers your questions slowly, like every answer is something you have not earned yet. The woman in billing knows which customers pay late, which jobs lose money, and which numbers on the report are technically true but practically useless. Your salary says $200,000. The loan says not so fast. Every month cash comes in, payroll goes out, vendors get paid. Taxes wait in the corner, and the bank takes its piece before you get to feel successful. So you stop pretending the spreadsheet is the business. You raise prices the old owner was afraid to raise. You fire the customer who has been paying 90 days late for years. You sit across from the general manager in a diner and ask what he would fix if this place were his. Then you do 3 of the 4 things he tells you. A week later, he looks up when you walk in. That is the first real profit. Level 4, the acquirer. By year 4, the first business no longer feels like a knife pointed at your chest. The debt is lower. The team listens. The bank calls you back faster. A quieter version of you would stop here. One company, clean cash flow, a life most people would call a win. But the folder changed something in you, so you open the spreadsheet again. The second business is smaller. The owner is tired. The trucks are older. The bookkeeping is worse. But the customers keep calling and the cash is real. This time, the bank does not laugh as quickly. The first business becomes proof. Its cash flow becomes credibility. Its systems become the thing you promised the second seller you can bring. Then comes the third. And this is where the math starts to bend. Alone, each company is priced like a small shop, dependent on one owner. Put them together, share the back office, clean, the books combine the purchasing. And the same dollar of profit suddenly looks more valuable. You are not getting smarter. The profit is simply standing in a better room. But every new company adds another loan, another signature, another group of employees waiting to see if you are serious. You are no longer buying freedom. You are buying responsibility in bulk. Level 5, the builder. By 40, you own 8 businesses. Not one empire, not yet. 8 separate companies with separate logos, Separate crews, separate problems, and separate ways of making the same mistake twice. So you build the thing that sits above them. A parent company, a small office with a controller and operations lead an insurance file that finally makes sense, and one clean set of numbers that tells you what is actually happening before the bank does. The businesses keep their names. The plumbing company still answers the phone the same way. The roofing crew still parks behind the same warehouse. The HVAC vans still carry the founder's last name on the side, but underneath the machine changes. Accounting moves up, hiring moves up, financing moves up. Cash begins to climb from the companies on the ground to the holding company above them. Then comes the dangerous trick. When one business pays down enough debt, you refinance it. You put new debt back on the company and pull cash up to buy the next one. It feels like momentum. It is also risk wearing a better suit. Around this time, bankers start calling with softer voices. Private equity firms ask what number would make you sell. For the first time, getting out looks easier than staying in. And that is when the real decision arrives. Level 6, the holding company. You hold. That is the decision you make when selling would have been cleaner, louder, and easier to explain. You do not sell the 8 companies. You buy the 9th, then the 10th, then the 20th. By 47, the thing you built no longer fits in one office or one spreadsheet. It is HVAC roofing, commercial, laundry, pest control, plumbing, filters, roots, trucks, warehouses, managers, crews, and customers who still call the old company names because those names mean something where they live. On paper, the equity is worth roughly $500 million. But paper is the quietest kind of rich. It does not show the nights you sat awake at 3 a.m. because one acquisition lost its foreman. It does not show the payroll weeks that felt too close. It does not show the founder's name you kept on the door because removing it would have saved money and cost trust. Private equity sees the same businesses now. They come with bigger checks, cleaner slides, and money that makes your early deals look small. They can outbid you. They can move faster than you. But they have a clock. They have to buy improved package and sell. You do not. You can tell a seller something they cannot say honestly. You can tell him his company does not have to become inventory. Top level, the first seller. Years later, you meet him for lunch. The same man who slid the first folder across the table. Older now, slower with the menu, still refusing to let you pay. He tells you something he never said at closing. You were not the highest offer. 2 buyers came before you with more money, cleaner financing, and faster timelines. One talked about efficiencies. One talked about professionalizing the team. Both meant the same thing. They would cut people, polish the numbers, and sell the company again. He chose you because you looked like someone who still needed the business enough to protect it. That is the part that stays with you. Not the multiple, not the debt, not the first year's cash flow, the trust. Because now, 20 companies later, every folder looks different. But every seller is asking the same question without saying it. Will this thing still be alive after I am gone? The first folder is still in your files. The corners are soft now. The paper has yellowed slightly. You keep it because it reminds you what the ladder was made of. Not just loans, not just cash flow, not just structure. Other people's life work.